How's it going, everyone? CJ
and Mandy
here from On The Grow, and today we're going to be interviewing Robin Maynard from Libby's Legacy Breast Cancer Foundation via Zoom. She's just an incredible woman that's done a really cool microgreen challenge that we thought just really captured our attention. She had sent us an email talking about it and wondered if she could share kind of her message and what she is doing with her foundation. And I thought it was just so incredible, especially for the month of October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I thought that it was a no-brainer that we have her on, and I've got to say, we finished talking with her and the interview was incredible. I love her energy so much. She's got a great spirit and she is doing an incredible job changing people's lives, and I think that you guys would really enjoy it. So if this is something that you're interested, please stick around for this interview. I hope that you guys enjoy. Hello, Robin.
hello.
Hi, CJ and Mandy. It's so strange to see you here. I'm so used to seeing you on YouTube.
Right? This is actually our first interview too, so it's our first.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna let you guys, so we're free here, we're comfortable. I'm gonna let you, oh, don't make me get my dogs.
Oh no, he's not supposed to be in the grow room, so Sam, you gotta go, buddy.
I can't help it
He likes
sometimes.
to
I
sneak
get
in.
it, I get it. My dogs come in, just sniff around. I'm like, nope, you can't be in here.
Yeah. Ours will start to get
You guys,
crazy
I
sometimes.
actually credit. I've only been doing this, and we'll talk about it more on why and how. I've had the Pink Ribbon Garden Project for 3 years, but I've only been doing microgreens since July. And it was your videos that helped me because you did the full walkthrough, and I like step by step. I don't want everybody's experiment because believe me, I do experiments.
Right.
That's my other thing I love. I'm like, oh my God, I'm geeking out on the grow, like seriously.
Oh, that's so awesome. That makes me feel so good.
You know, I'm like, what did they do here? Because I found that I started off doing hydroponics because I thought we already, you know, this is great. Like we give hydroponic kits to our survivors to grow at home, like lettuce. But then I realized it did not taste the same at all. The taste was unbelievably different. So I was doing some of those, and I was doing all my experiments when I first started in any to-go container I could find.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, we're getting ready to actually make a video about that, like growing around the house, because a lot of people are like, oh, I feel like a lot of the YouTubers make microgreens like this big beast that you have to,
Doesn't have to be.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what, I'm like, hey, let's grab a plate, let's throw some soil or something on it, just throw some water, be really cautious, and let's see what happens.
We want people to be able to grow at home because we know that that's really where good nutrition starts.
Yep.
Right. And the mothers are typically, the matriarchs and the ones doing the shopping or the growing. In this case, we just did a cool Zoominar, I've been calling them, with 10 of our survivors on how to grow at home. And we send them these kits. I'll show you.
Oh, it's so cool. Yay! We actually, like the little food prep,
Yep, we send them these kits, and then we did a big Zoominar with them all. And then we have them grow, and we meet, and we have a little group, and we put the can of soup on the top as the weight, so everybody has a can of soup around, especially if you're socioeconomically challenged. Unfortunately, you're usually eating processed food one way or the other, or preserved food. And so I've come up, it kind of happened on accident, like the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, where I ordered one, and then when I reordered, they sent me one that was a little bit smaller. So what the cool thing that happened with that was, it gets to sit a half an inch up above.
Nice.
So I can do a little bit of crack key method with the putting holes in this one and letting the water sit. So for those we're letting grow at home, they don't have to worry, because in the first time we did it, everyone was either overwatering or underwatering.
The watering could be
if we do crack key, then you can grow at home, and so it actually sits a half an inch above the other one. It's perfection.
That is so cool. I feel like you should run this channel a little bit.
Right.
you're so good. You're so incredible. Wow.
Well, it's my goal, and if you look at, so I know you have questions for me. Do you want to ask? Because I'll go on.
No,
I can't help
I'm actually loving this because a lot of this is really good, usable stuff. So I love this. Yeah.
So what happened was, in 2000, well, I'll start from the very beginning. And if you're like, okay, Robin, we got to get to the point, then just take me there. But I can't. Yeah. I want to share a little bit about who my mom was, because if I don't, then I'm not honoring her in the way that I want to. So she was amazing, like way better than me on every level. She was funny and faithful and smart, and she was there for everyone. She was like everyone's mom. And sometimes I share the story and I don't cry after 14 years, and sometimes I do. And that's, like I said, we're human, we just go with it. Yeah. So
I was gonna say, you're already kind of getting me.
I'm kind of like paramilitary, right? I'm CJ. I'm like, we would do this, and I was the one that everybody expected is going to be the strong one. It's just my sister and I were a year and 9 days apart. And when my mom got diagnosed, I thought, okay, my logical brain said, she's going to have a double mastectomy, she's going to have chemo, and she's going to live for another 25 years, because that's what my grandmothers did. And that's not what happened. So she had her double mastectomy, she had her chemo, and I'm really just like, okay, boom, let's move on. And I'm, getting the analytical information and letting my sister do the crying, and because I think she's going to be fine. And so anyway, there was this little spot they were concerned about, and I took her a course for a second opinion because I'm analytical. We need all the information, all the experiments that we can have. And I was watching more what the oncologist was doing than what he was saying. So he was spending a lot of time, he was touching her, and I said, wait a second, what are we talking about here? And he said, well, women in your condition can live a long time. And I said, well, a long time to an oncologist and a long time to a daughter are probably vastly different.
Right.
So I said, well, what's the time frame? And my mom says, I don't need a time frame. And I said, well, I do. So are we leaving the room or are you leaving the room? Because I need to talk. I have to plan, right? So he said 3 to 5 years. He said the average woman in your condition could live 3 to 5 years. I didn't think that was a long time at all. And my mom, being who she is, said, well, good, there's nothing average about me. Yeah, right. And she died 6 weeks later. And so it was devastating for me. And I thought, and she lost her job 3 months before she passed away too. Inability to fulfill your duties due to cancer treatment. And I thought that was so wrong as well.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to bash who she worked for, but I will tell you that they are a very large national cancer place. I'm trying not to say who they are. And if you knew me, I would chain myself to a billboard and not come down until they change their policy. But if you knew my mom, she would say, just do something better. So I decided to just do something better and form Libby's Legacy Breast Cancer Foundation. Our employees are women who lost their jobs when they had breast cancer. So it kind of, there's just a way to just turn it into a positive.
Yeah, balance it.
And in 14 years, we've provided over 8,400 breast health services. We have sent women on the cruise. On the way home, I asked my mom what she wanted to do, and she wanted to go on this cruise, and we didn't get to go, obviously. We've sent 10 families on that cruise. So we've done everything in her name, and I'm super grateful. But what happened was we lost our first patient 4 years ago, and I couldn't believe it. And it was our youngest patient. She was 32. And I'm like, this can't be. Well, first of all, we're blessed to go 10 years without losing someone, and I know that.
Yeah.
That's a miracle in and of itself. I think my mom spared me and let me grieve at the same time. But what I found was, what can I do differently? We're giving them access to the best treatment. We're getting them their mammograms and their biopsies. We're paying for everything right away. And what was different, when I kept looking at, was what people were eating.
Yeah.
Was that when you are poor, when you are working 3 jobs to keep food on the table, that food typically comes out of a box. That food typically comes out of a can. That food, because for $10 comes from McDonald's, because you can feed your whole family for $10 at McDonald's, and you can't buy organic blueberries and and microgreens. Of course, I didn't even know what microgreens were at the time. I will admit that. And so I thought, I'm going to start the Pink Ribbon Garden Project, and we're going to have breast cancer survivors grow their own healthy organic food. That's what we're going to do.
I love it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I got to partner with this amazing woman who hopefully you're not too young to know, named Melissa Etheridge.
Yes, whenever I saw that, I was like, oh my God, I grew up with her music.
She's rock and roll. She's hopefully going to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2021. And she invited us on a cruise that she does, her Melissa Etheridge cruise, and did a talk on eating healthy and eating organically. And I stood up and kind of said, hey, said Rockstar, I love you and I hear you and I believe you, but the people I serve simply can't afford to do it. And what if we started these Pink Ribbon Gardens? And she said, that can change the world. Now, a lot of rock stars are going to say that, and you're not going to hear from them again. A month later, she called and said, I can't get out of my head. Let's do this thing. And so we've opened 4 Pink Ribbon Gardens so far. We have them in New York. We have them in Florida. We're hopefully getting ready to open one in North Carolina and maybe even start a farm here. That's something that we're looking at. Then COVID happened, right?
Right.
So now what?
Yeah.
Groups can't gather. Breast cancer can't send 10, they were going together, which I think was important at the time.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, kind of like the gym, you'll show up at the gym if your buddy's waiting for you, but sometimes you won't show up for yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that with, I think, gardening sometimes, if you know that somebody's counting on you. And I'm a planner like CJ. So I had everything planned out. We're going to do this, and this is what we're going to harvest, and this is how many pounds. But CJ, let me tell you something. What I didn't count for, which is always the fun things in life, are those unexpected things. And as you get older, you'll start to see that. Well, you have Mandy to show you too. But what I didn't count on is for every bag we harvest, it's grow one, give one. So for every bag they were harvesting, they were giving one to someone a sister in current treatment, right? So what I didn't realize, when you're on the receiving end of charity your entire life, you never have an opportunity to give. So them being able to give back, is the empowerment of that has been amazing. Amazing. So that brings me to microgreens.
Yeah.
Let you ask the question because I swear I'm just going to go on.
No, I love it. No, I love all this. And it's just,
you may have to record yourself asking questions.
right, exactly. I'm gonna pretend like I asked some questions through this. I'd be like, so Robin, so yeah. And then I'll just
Can you tell us how Libby's legacy started? Sure.
Yeah, right.
But so microgreens happened because I was realizing, okay, we're growing these. I mean, the pink ribbon garden is in the shape of a pink ribbon. If you've seen it, it's 29 feet by 17 feet. It's huge, but it's still serving a couple 100 pounds a year. I'm not reaching enough people. I want to reach more people, and I want to provide more nutrition. So we partner in New York with a company called SEFQ, which is the State Employee Federal Credit Union, and they have a freight farm, and they grow hydroponically, and they supplement what we're growing in our gardens there with lettuce.
Okay.
And I started making hydroponic kits, which I'm going to go get one for you. Actually, I'm going to mute you and yell.
I love that.
There. That's better, because otherwise I'm good. And I started making these hydroponic kits out of downspouts. So I started,
cool.
There's a great guy named
Keep on growing with Mike Van Duzy?
Mike Van Duzy.
Yeah. He was one of the first channels that reached out and talked about us. It was a really cool
So
guy.
I started it almost the exact same way, not knowing that he was doing it.
Yeah.
So I made the downspout. I thought of and then he brought me the pool noodles. I'm like, yes, because I was using net cup holders, and I'm like, these are expensive, and the hydro, all that stuff. I'm like, no. So I was like, Mike, I'm gonna give him a shout out because he really is. Well, I was like, pool noodles, it's genius.
Yep.
So, thank you. It's like, thank you, Vanna. So basically, for me, what I did was I have a downspout here, so that we can see it, and with the pool noodles in it, and I'm growing this beautiful lettuce, and I have these survivors doing it at home. But what I did differently was I realized that the end cap, so he was heating up those end caps, and I was like, oh no. I tried to do wherever, like, I'm never going to be doing this all the time. It's not happening.
Yep.
It's a
So
lot of time.
it's not happening. I burned myself. I had the wrong gloves at first. I stuck them to, anyway. So I'm like, I got to come up with, and then of course there's the end caps you can buy, but that whole tube cost me $2.11. Each end cap's $2.50.
I was going to say, the hydroponic industry it's crazy. The prices on the hydroponic equipment is just, it's so crazy.
So good. So, thank you. Without me even asking. See, marriage. It's a beautiful thing. I even do blue because men get breast cancer too. So for our pool noodles. But so basically, I was like, that's not going to work because it triples the cost. Like that makes no sense. And and I wanted these to be able to go under the little fairy Morse lights that you can get at Lowe's because I wanted to get them to donate some. I'm going to get to microgreens, I promise.
No, you're fine. I love this.
But so what we did was we got some a donor to 3D print our end caps.
I was going to ask about that because I do 3D printing myself, and that's what that looked like. Yeah.
Yeah, but we also they put this hole in to drain, and I've realized that causes more harm than good just because they tend to leak more, and then I end up putting the silicone and no.
Yeah.
So I'm still working on this. It's always a work in progress, but we've already got survivors growing out of these, and I love it because what can happen is between the two kits, if you do two kits next to each other and this under one light, you can make your own salad. And that's the idea, is that you use your microgreens, you use your you grow lettuce and pak choi, perfect for making a beautiful salad. So that's what we started. So started with the hydroponics. Let me back myself up. And when COVID happened, my wife is extremely high risk. She has asthma. And so we've been pretty isolated, very isolated. And it's been really hard. And I want to still get this food, but now these survivors are not going out because they have to touch the lock on the gates and just too much touch with COVID going on.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Florida, I won't get any. We haven't been the best at some rules. There's some anti-maskers here.
I feel like a lot of Texans are very
I'm trying to
Texas
get
proud
across without, and so I was like, it's fair. I got survivors in treatment. I got folks like they can't be exposed out here.
Yeah.
And then I started studying microgreens. We have some friends that were growing sprouts And I thought, and we're talking about the nutritional, and of course, then I get into the science. Like now I'm Bill Nye, like sulforaphanes, polyphenols, like I'm into the whole thing. Like tell me all about it, right? And then I'm finding that broccoli is such an anti-aging, anti-cancer. I'm like, what?
Yep.
Then I'm head in on the University of Maryland study where it's like 4 to 40 times in nutrition, and I'm all into the abstract. I want to read the whole thing. Like talk to me like at Harvard doing that. Like I'm loving it. And I just realized, like, holy cow, me delivering this of certain things can be like delivering 10 heads of the mature plant. Like,
Exactly.
Are you serious? How many more people can we, not only how many more people can we serve, how much more nutrition can we give them? So we have been delivering to 23 breast cancer survivors twice a week.
That's incredible.
Wow, that's amazing.
In the last 2 months. It's been amazing.
That is.
Not only that, we're finding out what they like. So here's the hardest part. Yeah, it has to taste good. I'll tell you,
exactly.
I'm gonna be straight up. I don't like broccoli at all in the mature plant. I love broccoli microgreens.
It's funny how that happens. A lot of, I've actually got my cousin's husband. He's like, I hate broccoli, and I showed him some microgreens. He's like, oh my god, he's eating a whole bag, just munching on it as we're chatting. And I'm like, so
and
you
even
like broccoli.
for weight loss, and I certainly need to lose some more, but sunflowers have so much protein in them that you feel full faster.
Yep.
So when you're using your sunflowers and your pea shoots as the base of your salad, as opposed to iceberg lettuce that doesn't, wow, you're full faster. You can actually make a salad. So now we're partnering with the convention center and Center Plate here because they're not having conventions. They have 90 hydroponic towers. It's like almost like an art display, and they're delivering all of our lettuce. So we can deliver lettuce and microgreens, and we're focusing on Sunny's pea shoots and broccoli mostly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm experimenting with all of the other things.
Oh, yeah, right.
And of course, our amaranth and broccoli pink ribbon. I don't care for amaranth if it tastes like beets. I can't do it.
See,
That's what you are.
That's how I was. I had a video of that. I was like, I tasted it and I was like, man. Everybody's like, why? And he's like, I love it.
I love it on certain things. I can't eat a ton of it, but I found out that it's actually really good with brownies.
Brownies.
And
That's the
raspberries.
only way I'll do it.
It's really yummy. Yeah. Oh, and you have to do almond milk whipped cream with it.
That's what we like to do.
Interesting.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Well, that's something we're missing, and maybe something we can partner on is recipes, because that's what. So we're dropping them off, and some people are making them into smoothies. We have a Facebook group, so we're sharing what we've made with them, but not everybody knows, and so we're begging them to be honest with us, because the last thing we want to do is drop them off and have them die in the fridge. I call them my babies, of course. I'm like, I have to check on the babies. For my anniversary, my card was in with my microgreens because my spouse knew it was the first place I would go in the morning when I woke up. Literally, it was like happy anniversary right next to the Sunnies.
Oh my gosh. Okay, props to your partner for knowing that.
I knew you'd go check on your babies first.
Oh my god.
It's, so that's why. And to find that 40 to 40 times the nutrient value can be so great for our survivors. And of course, it's all free. We're just we're just being good stewards of the donations. Our donations are down, of course, this year, like most nonprofits. And so, if anybody, I can't help do a plug. I wouldn't be a good ED or a good founder if I didn't. So if anybody wants to donate 10% of their amaranth because it's pink this month, we're not going to turn it away.
Right.
You can go to Libby'sLegacy.org and donate. Sure. It's our nonprofit. Or make the pink ribbon and send it to garden@Libby'sLegacy.org. We'd love to see them. We'll show our survivors and show them that people out there care for them and love what we're doing, and that we want them to eat healthy, and we want them to have that. And the survivors with kids that are stuck at home, it's been awesome. The kids are looking every day, and when you can harvest something in 7 to 10 days, bam, that's instant gratification.
That's what I love, the ability for parents to connect with their kids, because it's such a fast growing process, that and the colors that can happen with microgreens overall.
It really draws you in.
Yeah.
Oh, and the cocoa core, whenever you expand it, the way it just like.
Oh yeah, that's why we had packages of soil, and I was like, no. For kids, you need to pellet.
You have to.
Ooh, it's growing.
I don't care who you are, or how old you are, whatever. You look at that grow, and you're just like, this is amazing.
If you're 50 like me, you're looking at the things you used to order out of the back of the magazine and put them on, like the little seahorses and all that would grow, and the little dinosaurs.
Oh yeah,
that's what I was thinking of when I was a kid. You had the little pill-shaped things that used to get out of the dispensers or whatever. Yeah, and then you go home, you put it as like grow a, dinosaur or something.
Yeah. Who
Expand
knew
out.
expanding soil was going to be our thing?
Right.
But it works. It works, and people are receiving it well, and kids are eating it without knowing they're eating it because of the ways that you can put microgreens into things. And it starts at home, like anything else, right? It starts at home. So it's our goal to have a trailer like yours or a shed. We're looking for sponsors. Maybe, who knows? Like maybe somebody sees this and says, we have 28 acres out here on a lake where we do retreats with our survivors. We have a program called Hooked on Hope. We take them fishing so they can see that they never have to go hungry and can still, we throw most of them back, but we also show that you can, if you're doing things the right way, there are ways to eat in a healthy way, because there's a study. There hasn't been enough studies. That's another thing I want. I want there to be more studies. Just that one University of Maryland study is not enough, right? And how about a study with breast cancer patients, like to say, because what we've noticed in 2 months, we have one of our patients whose blood work has changed for the better in 2 months.
That's
of eating
incredible.
This. So we know it. Like that's not enough to announce it because you have to have a control, you have to do research. Yeah. But that's what we're looking for. Yep. And that one study in 1985 called the WIN study shows that what they call dietary intervention, which by the way is just a brochure, which to me is not dietary intervention. Bringing people food is dietary intervention. Right. But it shows that it can reduce the risk of recurrence of breast cancer by up to 24% in some cases.
That's incredible.
That's huge. It's almost as much as chemotherapy in a lot of people. People react differently to it. So when we realized that we were doing all we could do, we realized we weren't doing all we could do. And now we feel like adding wellness and adding microgreens and adding these nutrients with our pink ribbon garden and our home hydroponics and our home kits is really doing all we can do to make the difference. And in my mom's memory, that's what means the most to me, to really honor her and to be able to make sure that, I count the children. 212 children have their mom because I don't have mine. So everybody we diagnose, I look at that because that's how I feel like I honor my mom. So sorry, I'm probably gonna get a little choked up. Can't help it, but
no, that is. I got chills on my neck. I mean, that's incredible, and I love what you're doing because what we set out to do too with On the Grow was I was tired of kind of this cloudiness around microgreens. Like nobody wanted to share their techniques and like in full in depth on how to grow this. And my whole thing was, like 10 years ago, I was like, I want to feed the world. Like that was a big goal of mine. Is I want to figure out how to feed the world, and it's like so far fetched and like you can't do that, but at the same time, I'm gonna try. So I saw that people being very secretive with microgreens, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna learn everything that I learn. I'm gonna be sharing with the community in the hopes in the hopes that it encourages people. I love that because it really can't.
And here's the thing: you can't ship them anyway, so it's not like there's that much competition. Like let's just sell down people.
Exactly. I've seen a few patents around like how to ship them. I'm like, good luck. It's gonna be.
But how much better to support local? It's kind of like this Christmas. Like if we can not shop at Amazon and we can actually help our local businesses, let's try to do that. So, sharing that information and sharing that is kind of the same thing. Like you're local, giving local, you obviously care. That's why you have 53,000 subscribers. People relate to you and they appreciate the information. And I always say good gets good. So trust me when I tell you it's coming back. You don't have to, you don't have to hold it a secret and you don't have to protect it. Giving is what makes it come back for sure. And you guys are on point.
That's been one of the coolest things is by sharing everything that we're doing, we've impacted so many different people all around the world that we would have never had any contact with to begin with.
The daily messages, I think, is what really, sometimes we like literally start to cry just a little bit just because there's people like, you've changed my life. Either you've given me a business, you've given me a sense of purpose, you've allowed
change health.
Given my father a sense of purpose. Like there's a lot of elderly people out there who just don't have a lot of hobbies. And there's a lot of kids that are just teaching their elderly parents how to grow these things. And the parents are loving it. It's increasing their health, their vibrancy, they're excited. It gives them a sense of purpose to live. And I think that's one of the big reasons, you can stay healthier is having that sense of purpose.
And yes. It's kind of like, that's how I feel about losing your job. Like my mom lost her sense of purpose there. Like, like those are the things, and I agree, especially with seniors and especially with, I made her get me an apron that said microgreenologist. Like I'm taking it that seriously. Like I'm down. Like I want to be like, I want like this. I'm a farmer now. Like I am a straight up microgreenologist.
I love this. Well, I think we're going to have to do some kind of something. Maybe we can have some kind of recurring segment where we bring you on. You talk about the new studies and things. Because I think especially
and our group is called, for Pink Ribbon Garden Project, we called it Green is the New Pink. So now our group is called Microgreen is the New Pink.
I
Oh,
love
I
that.
love that.
It's
So,
really
so is
like,
that the Facebook group, Microgreen is the new pink?
yeah, but it's we have one for survivors. We're gonna open one. Like again, we're still in we've only been doing it for 2 months, so
Yeah.
we don't want to. That's why we've got one of our survivors growing at home that works for us, one of our staff. But I just taught her. We set up the rack. We do everything just like you. I'm like, no, you have to squeeze the thing. See how CJ does it? With the you have to squeeze the light, in there like that. So like when I tell you that I've watched you, my whole setup is basically yours.
That's
I'm
incredible.
Like, well, CJ only has one fan. Why do we have to have 2 fans?
Right? Exactly. What's funny is there's a lot of controversy around the fans. People are like, oh, it doesn't. I'm like, oh, it moves the air.
It moves
very
the air.
subtle,
If
but
you don't
it
have mold,
does.
it's working. Hello. So, well, I got into it with Sandy last night because her sunflower. So I've been teaching her, and she's been growing on her own, but her sunflower's not looking too good. And so then she sends me the picture. I'm like, why are your sunflowers wet? And she's like, well, CJ and Mandy spray theirs after. I'm like, no, we do not mist after. I'm like, they do. And I'm like, can you screenshot that? Because I did not see that video. I'm like, we bottom water after the blackout. She's like, I'm telling you, I watched it. I'm like, fine. So,
But honestly, with sunflowers, there's been so many.
finicky.
Because what we realized from over a year of growing microgreens now, it can vary really quite differently, and that's why we actually had it was an accident that we had the no soak on the on our grow guide. But the truth is, some of them do good with no soak, some do good with an hour, some 4 hours. It's like every batch it's just kind of like as soon as you get a new batch, we just start like 4 trays and we do them all different ways, and it's like let's just see what happens here, because sunflowers are that one that you just never know.
Yeah, but when I found out why, I said, are you doing this with everything? And she said yes, and I said that's why your broccoli's laying down. Do not miss your broccoli. So in her mind, like, because we're not there together, we're gonna start a whole grow room at Libby's Legacy at our office when we can get back in there. But right now we can't get back in there, right?
Yep.
So because when we open, everybody comes by to say hello. We have a family of 250 survivors, so they always want to stop in, and we just can't do that right now. But what was I gonna tell you? I was just gonna tell you something about we do experiments like that too, just soaking, not soaking, what works, what doesn't. And she's having a hard time. I'm like, how cold is it in your house? Like, there's so many variables.
Yes.
Humidity, dehumidifier. How are you keeping it at morgue level? Well, they're not going to germinate. You need to
See, that's where it's like microgreens can be so simple and so complicated at the same time.
That's how it is.
Well, that's why I thought God must have been on my side. I must have prayed, and because I grew those pink ribbon amaranth like 4 times with 0 issues, and I'm like, what's everybody talking about? Amaranth's hard to grow. Until the first damping off, I'm like, what? I'm like, I just grew a perfect pink ribbon in the middle of broccoli. Like, damn, I'm a microgreenologist, right?
Right, microgreenologist.
This is my jam. So, but no, I've discovered, and I grew one on a so when I started, I should get some of those, but had like the Publix, well, I don't know what grocery store you have, whatever, the to-go containers with the blue lids, the little storage containers.
Yep.
And what I did was I saw somebody do it, and I cut the lid out and I put a screen over it and I put the lid back on so that it would stay on.
Yep.
And I grew broccoli that way, and I'm like, boom. Then I grew my first pink ribbon in a sushi lid to-go container, right? So I'm like, but like there was no problems. I'm like, something's not right here. I should be having some more difficulty. Well, we were in North Carolina getting away from the COVID here at our place there. Once I came back here, I'm like, okay, so humidity. I'm back in Florida.
Yeah.
So the humidity's insane, right? So now I need a bigger dehumidifier. I need the bigger trays, and so we're all learning, and I think that's the beautiful thing. And as long as we don't stop and we have purpose, and there's nothing wrong with making money. Make money. Sell your microgreens. Get them to. Nothing wrong with that either. As long as I think giving back is so special, and it always comes back to you. It just always does. There is no. What it gives you is different than what's a deposit in your bank account, right?
Absolutely.
It's just, it feeds your soul, and it puts the deposits there, and more importantly, it feeds the soul of others, and not just, so I think that's the point. And I kept wanting to post the pink ribbon one. I'm like, I'm waiting for CJ. It's just life. And we're getting ready. 2 other things. We're doing an experiment right now with compost, because I have a friend who owns a company called Eco Strategy Group. And I said, listen, I'm taking all these micro mats, like what I call them. I shouldn't call it that, because there's a trademark on some of them.
Whatever. Actual micromats, which is a really bad medium.
It is really harvested trays of soil. And I was taking them down and feeding the petting zoo nearby. I was feeding the dwarf donkeys, and it was fun for a while. And I'm like, I feel like there's something better, because we're spending so much, right? And we're a nonprofit. And so my friend says, bring them to me, like, let's figure out the compost. And so she composted some and said, try this. And the only thing so far we've had is that the compost seems to stick a little bit more than the regular soil. And we use kind of I noticed that you did a thing on the burpee organic soil that you originally started with. That's the exact bag, PS, that I originally started with.
Really?
My people in North
Right.
Carolina. And now we use the Jiffy, I'll have to show you, the Jiffy seed starter mix from Lowe's. But that's because they donate to us, but it's 12 quarts and it's been amazing. We still want to do hydroponically, but we found the taste. If I can't get people to eat it, I'm not doing any good.
That's been the biggest issue so far with hydroponics that we're noticing. Like for a while there, we felt like we were getting really good results with ocean solution as a nutrient for hydroponics. But then the more we started tasting it next to soil, we're like, hold on, there is a
big difference.
Major flavor.
Big difference.
Yeah.
I've probably had 10 people do taste tests and every one of them, it's hands down the soil.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
Listen, it is what it is. We can want it to be something different, but science is science, and people, the proof is in the research. And,
right.
And we found that too. So
that's something that we actually want to hopefully at some point do is because there's not been a lot of, like you said, nutritional studies around all this stuff and studies in general. And one thing that I'd love to do is start growing some trays hydroponically versus soil and then sending those off to a lab. And the biggest hang up has been just the cost, because it's like, it's $500 to $1,000 per sample. So for me to do an experiment with 4 trays.
So let's collaborate on a grant. I mean, that's what we do. You heard it here first. I mean, that's how things happen. Let's,
that'd be
cool. But if you can, so if our nonprofit gets the grant and we can pay for that and you're doing the experiment, it's a win-win. So you
that'd
don't
be
have
incredible.
To collaborate. So I think, and we're working with a guy, they have a foundation called Hip Science. Of course, I love that. So where they do stem-ponics and this thing called Mantis. And what they're doing in our Pink Ribbon Gardens is putting moisture probes in and making it where, because of COVID, that we can control the water from an hour away if we want to, or from.
Super cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. And he's going to set up my first automated microgreen system where it gives the peas more water and it gives this less water. It's not just the drain. Like he's going to set everything up for us.
That's incredible.
And my goal is to eventually do a collaborative grant with, folks like him and Eco Strategy Group and you guys. And let's, especially with, I don't want anybody but you. If it's not me, it's got to be you guys for experimenting. I'll tell you that right now. You saved me so much time. It's not even funny.
That's incredible. I appreciate that. Yeah.
You really do. So if you think about that, you're giving back to the nonprofit, because time is always money, whether that's your staff member or not. So you really do. Like, I'm like, right when I go to experiment, I already check to see if you've done it. So,
that's what we wanted to do too, because around microgreens, it can get really expensive, especially starting off. And that's why I like to buy a lot of the lights and the trays. And I try to do the most unbiased review that I can do on all these products, because like you said, there's a lot of people out there, especially, and that's one of my bigger things too, is the low income areas. Yes. And that's something that I just have always been kind of just circling in my brain, is how do we make this more accessible to everybody? Because it's like,
in food deserts with food insecure people, this is a way, we're dropping at their door. Now, obviously that's harder to do, but is it? Maybe Uber Eats needs to get involved. Maybe there's other ways that we can do this to actually bring it to these food deserts and food insecure people. That's what we want to do, because and if you can supplement it with lettuce, because they still have to make dinner for their families, like no matter who you are, right? So to supplement it, but you know what? I also find if mom's healthy, family's healthy. Moms tend to put everybody else first and not themselves. And that's one of the things we preach is like, hey, when mom's healthy, you're teaching your kids to take care of themselves. You're teaching your kids that they have value. You're teaching your kids that taking care of yourself is the number one thing that enables you to take care of your family.
I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can say that that's something we're kind of bad about too, is that eating more nutritious food. And that's why we love microgreens, because we get lazy. We're like, we're gonna make some macaroni and cheese and chicken, and we're throwing a bunch of broccoli microgreens. And then you mix it up and you don't know that you're eating microgreens.
I'm guilty. In Zoom, you get to see me from here up, thank God, because trust me, I've gained the COVID-19, as I call it, and then some. I've gained sitting around for 6 months has been working from home. It's not been very good for my exercise regime. In Florida, it's pretty hot in the summer too. So we have to practice what we preach. But even if you're putting it on macaroni and cheese, and even if you're putting it in some soup that's not, you're still getting it in your body. Exactly. My goddaughter, Jessie, only likes hot dogs and macaroni and cheese and sunflowers. And now she was lacking protein, like from the dog, that's a way to get it in. And that's the bottom line. We are changing. you say like, I wanted to feed the world and I knew that was impossible. It's not. I don't think anything's impossible. I don't think anything's insurmountable. If we take care of our own little section of the world, right? And if everybody did that, you are feeding the world. You are changing the world.
See, I love that. And one of my biggest blessings, I think, is the fact that with technology, we can go anywhere with this. So we could share this anywhere. And there's been so many people in India, Nepal, we've got people in Russia. I mean, you just name it. We've had all these people that we're just Google translating what they comment on our videos, and we drop it.
It's incredible.
And we're responding in Russian and all this.
I'm starting to learn a little bit of it, but I see it, I'm like, I think I know what this means slightly.
Yeah. So it's just
that's so cool.
Yeah. So it's been a huge blessing, and like you said, those people are then rippling it into their local areas. And what I've noticed too, there's been a lot of YouTube channels kind of bouncing off, and they're starting stuff similar to ours. And I'm like, hey, that's incredible. Do your thing and keep spreading the word in your language. There's no way I'm going to get over there in time to try to tap that market. And I just think I think it's incredible that everybody, especially those who are really open about giving out the information, because microgreens are just such an incredible crop. Like you said, 7 to 10 days or 15 days for some crops, and you've got something that's so nutritious. And you can actually just blend it into food, and you don't really know it's there for the most part.
A win-win. It's a win-win for parents everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Because a lot of people with kids say that their kids love them. Like, remember, it was our realtor, his son.
Anybody's kids who taste them, they'll just start grabbing it. As long as you don't say like, hey, like you don't put like that stigma of, hey, you have to eat your greens, and instead you just kind of let them explore it and taste it. And they're like,
we want to change it. We want to change it from you have to eat your greens to you get to eat your greens.
Exactly. Yeah.
A little more positivity around it.
Exactly. Like we grow our peas. We grow the dwarf gray snow peas because of the sweet snow pea taste. We love instead of the speckled pea. I haven't tried the speckled pea yet. We've just been giving them.
I like that personally. I like the snow peas, like you said, for that sweet reason too, because speckled can be very woody. It's kind of, you have to like almost.
Of course you do, CJ.
Yeah, right. That is too cool. Oh.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. I mean, I'd love it if we can, come on and do updates, or maybe we make a shirt together that you guys can do and do a percentage to Libby's. Like, I bet there's a really cool, I don't know, even if we did microgreen as a new pink with a little amaranth,
I love that.
Thing.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That's really cute.
There's always a way. There's always a way. And if nothing else, we're getting the word out. We're letting people know that this is healing, right? That we're harvesting to heal, that there's a way to bring light in kind of a little bit of a dark world right now. And it may seem small, but it's not. They're small, packing a punch that I can't do in a 250 square foot garden.
Exactly.
And it's amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's inside and it's air conditioned. I mean, another win if you live in Florida.
So, you were talking about opening back up the office for Libby's Legacy. I think it'd be super cool. I've been sitting on a grow rack for a while that I was wanting to do a giveaway for. And instead of doing that, because it actually gets very complicated doing giveaways on YouTube, which is such a bummer because I want to give more to the following and stuff like that. But I think it'd be really cool because I've got a whole bunch of lights and an extra rack. It's a smaller rack, but it would still fit probably, I think it's about 24 trays on it. So if you guys would be open to it, I would love to send you guys the lights and the rack to go into the foundation. That way, if you guys want, you can take some pictures. We can do some updates. And if he wants to do auto watering system or whatever on that, it'd be really cool that we can.
That is so cool. I'm so grateful. I think I'm almost ready to cry. I don't know if that's COVID, or just just from being. It's just so kind. We've missed that in our human interaction. I want to thank you, and I'd love to do that. And then it can be on the grow, hip science, like our whole grow room. Maybe we get sponsors, and you guys would be one of them. We started off. We'll always have that in our story. So it's because of you that I'm able to be successful so quickly. It's because of On the Grow. I do believe, I believe. And because of that, it's really because of you guys that we've been able to start distributing to our breast cancer survivors, because I think otherwise I'd still be in the experiment mode because I want everything to be perfect before. Right. And because of you guys and your instruction and your, willingness to make mistakes and show the mistakes and be human made me relate more. And I didn't need to go to of course I tried in the beginning to go to lots of other places, but I always came back to you, CJ and Mandy. And I just appreciate you for that. I think that I want you to know that your little trailer in Texas somewhere, has changed the lives of Central Floridians and beyond, because we're starting to do it in New York now and other places. So we're so grateful. Libby's Legacy Breast Cancer Foundation loves you. Big Ribbon Garden Project loves you, and now our microgreen is the new pink, loves you. So we're really truly grateful.
I am so, I'm getting all choked up.
It's a big deal. We do things and we don't think that they're a big deal, and they are. And the more we share, what you're doing is sharing. You set out to share the information, and when you share of yourself, of your process, and you're teaching others, there is no way to lose there. So your product is going to do well. You can claim it now. Your product's going to do well. Your On the Grow channel is going to continue to grow. The shirts that you put out, if you would get my size, I could probably wear. Maybe even a little, I had a hardest time pronouncing cotyledon. I'm like, I kept calling it cotyledons in the beginning. Maybe you can make them on a bow tie. We don't know, right?
That'd be super fun. I love that. Or like even little micros, like a black and white.
Yeah, little micros. I mean, if I'm going to be a microgreenologist, I have to have an On the Grow bow tie.
Okay, that would be so fun. Or a believer or something like that. It'd be
believer, so yeah, I love all that. And I'm willing, I mean, whatever we can do to support you, because even without knowing it, you've supported us. And we're truly grateful.
I'm so appreciative of you sharing that.
All right, y'all, well, that is it for this video. I hope that you guys really did enjoy sitting down and chatting with Robin on her foundation and what we do and what she does, and just kind of sharing a little bit more openly about microgreens in general and the impact that it has on people's lives. I think that this is a really incredible point that we don't get enough time kind of discussing. So I'm really excited to potentially be doing a lot more of these style of interviews and trickling this into our normal content. So we're still gonna stick to our 3 videos per week that we do surrounding microgreens, but then adding in some of these interviews, because I think that they do bring a lot of value, and just hearing others' perspectives, where they're coming from, what they're doing with microgreens and things like that. So if you guys are interested in this kind of stuff, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. If you dislike this content, give us a thumbs down. I don't know how you could dislike something so heart-opening. But if you have any questions or comments, please leave in the section below. If there's other companies that you think we should work with or something, be sure to reach out to them. Or if you guys have a company that you're doing something where you're giving back or teaching people how to grow in different ways, or something that you think would be beneficial to sharing with others. And one of the big things that we do is we teach others for free. So that's, we're not going to just promote your business to promote your business.
We're not going to promote any courses.
Yeah, exactly. But
like that.
if you're giving back to the community, we would love to share your message and what you're doing. So be sure to let us know in the comment section below, or also our website has our email link. You can go there too as well and fill that out and send us an email, and we'll get to that as soon as we possibly can. Our Instagram and our Facebook are both
at On the Grow Farms.
At On the Grow Farms, and our website is www.onthegrow.net. Woo! Thank you guys so much. Have a great day, and we hope you guys keep on believing. And we're so happy that Robin is a believer. Bye.
Thank you, Robin.